Evan, great to have you with us. Welcome to Inside Utah Politics.
Great to be with you, Glenn.
Campaign latest. Give us a status update. You got into the race late. There was a question on how many ballots, state ballots you'd actually be on. Give us an update.
Yeah, well, we've made amazing progress. We are on the ballot or registered as a write-in in 34 states now. By the time we get to November 8th, it'll be 40 to 45. So the majority of Americans will be able to cast a vote for me on November 8th.
With all due respect, when you first got in the race, people were not familiar with your name.
Of course not, yeah.
We heard rumblings that this movement was going to produce a candidate, but when we heard Evan McMullin, a lot of people thought, who?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but talk about that challenge, because you weren't a recognized person jumping into the race.
Yeah, well, I take no offense to that, Glenn. I enjoyed my private life while I had it, actually. But I felt that this needed to be done. Someone needed to get in and offer a better choice for the American people. I had hoped that it would be somebody else with name ID, national name ID, and maybe somebody with a little more hair, but that didn't happen, and I felt that I needed to do it if no one else would. So the challenges are what you'd expect. We need to get our message out to as many American people as possible. We find that we have a very high conversion rate, actually, as we do that. When we were a week or a week and a half into the race, we were already polling at 9% here in Utah. And that was at a time where my name ID was very low. So that's the point. We find as we go that the more people who hear our message, the more people tend to join on at a higher rate than what you would expect for a normal campaign.
Do you think people are joining on because they believe in your message, though, or is it more of an anti-Hillary and Donald Trump vote?
I think it's one and the same. People are looking for good leadership in this country, and they don't see it in Hillary Clinton for sure, and they don't see it in Donald Trump either. I believe that I offer leadership that is committed to the interests of the American people. I've served this country. I've put my life at risk for this country more times than I can count after 9/11, serving overseas. They want leadership who will respect and honor the Constitution, which I do, and have spent time working on that very issue when I served as the Chief Policy Director in the House of Representatives. That's the kind of leadership, among other things, that people are looking for. Leadership who will unite this country. We've been divided unnecessarily for too long, and I believe the two major party candidates, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, are further dividing our country, race against race, religion against religion. We don't need that, and we can do better, and that's the kind of leadership I offer.
You mentioned the 9% poll, but there's been a more recent one that bumps you up to 12%.
That's right.
What do you attribute that to? How have you been able to bump that up that quick?
Well, look, I think it's just about getting our message to more people. We are converting at a high rate. We just need to get our message out. What is our message? Our message is that we need to reform the government. We need to put more power back in the hands of the states. Washington is far too powerful, and that power is far removed from accountability to the American people. We need to get our economy up and running. What does that mean? It means an end to crony capitalism. It means an open economy in which all people can participate and compete. Just not only the big businesses, but the small and medium enterprises as well. And it means we need to secure this country. I'm the only candidate in this race with national security credibility. And that is something that is especially critical as we face major challenges from ISIS, Russia, and on other fronts.
So here in the state of Utah, your home state where you were born, up to 12%. What are you seeing in other parts of the country?
Well, the Mountain West is very important for us. We're polling at similar numbers in Idaho, and the challenge, part of the challenge for us, you asked about challenges, is being included on polls. Now, when we're included, our support is measured, and we are gaining support quickly, and polls are adding us rapidly to their surveys. So we're measuring as we go, but we overtook Jill Stein, for example, a couple of weeks ago in national polls. So now we're, right in a four-way, the top four nationally, and we will continue to build.
So name recognition, the polling issue you mentioned, getting into this, you knew it was a long shot bid. What is your ultimate goal? Are you trying to change the outcome for one of the other two candidates, or what is the long-term goal here?
Well, we have a couple of goals. The greatest goal we have would be to stop Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump from achieving a majority in the Electoral College. If the race is very, very close and therefore decided by, say, 1 or 2 states, the voters in those 1 or 2 states will have an opportunity to either give the election to Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, or block them both by electing me from that state. And so that is our ultimate goal. But as I say, it depends on the closeness of the race between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump largely. But we're also doing much more than that. Glenn, I believe it's so important in this race that someone stand for the foundational ideals on which this country was founded. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the notion that we were all created equal. I'm talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our leaders have gotten away from true dedication to especially the cause of liberty. We need leaders who will recommit themselves to that, and I am one of those. So I am offering that in this race. Otherwise, we have no candidates who are advocating, no credible candidates who are advocating for limited government and an empowered individual. So that's what I'm doing. But the longer term, Glenn, is the following. I believe that it is time in this country for a new generation of leadership. But more specifically, I believe it's time for a new conservative movement. A conservative movement that will rededicate itself, as I say, to the cause of liberty, and also be people of all kinds of, all religions and races. Right now, there are many people of different races and religions who don't feel that they're welcome in the Republican Party. That means that I doubt the Republican Party's ability to be an effective political vehicle for the conservative movement going forward. So we need something new in that regard, and we're offering that.
Talk about that. Your status as a Republican. You're running as an independent, but you're a conservative background. Do you see right now the end of the Republican Party as we know it?
Yes, Glenn, I am the only conservative in this race. I want to be very clear about that. I believe that Donald Trump is a big government liberal, just like Hillary Clinton. He wants to grow the size of government. He says he wants to cut taxes, but he wants to increase spending, which means he would have to raise more debt to make up the difference. This is not what we need. That is not a conservative, responsible solution. As far as the Republican Party has been the political vehicle for the conservative movement for some time, but it has nominated someone who would like to deprive Americans of their individual liberties through the growth of government, as well as the reality that he doesn't truly support, for example, the Second Amendment, or I don't believe he's truly pro-life, because he's spent his whole adult life opposing these things. He's spoken favorably about universal health care, a single-payer health care system, even during this election. He's defended Planned Parenthood even after the revelations of its sale of baby parts was made public in this year. So, this is something that I think we cannot accept, and if the Republican Party is going to be nominating candidates like Donald Trump, I seriously question its ability to be the political vehicle for the conservative movement.
We have about a minute left, but I want to ask you about this. We're down the stretch, a couple weeks left until Election Day. You mentioned your goal is to hopefully swing a state or two. Utah, 12 percentage points, which still puts you back quite a bit. Can you make that move in the closing weeks?
Yes, I think we can, and we've got more than a couple of weeks. We've got several weeks, but yes, it's truly the case is urgent. We are doing everything we can to increase the awareness that Utahns have of my candidacy, and if we can do that, we're optimistic that we can turn this into a three-way race into the finish and prevail.
All right, Evan McMullin, we appreciate your time this morning. Great to have you with us.